to First Take on this Feel Good Friday. Thank you for starting your weekend here with us. I'm Molly Kerr. Will Kane, the one and only Will Kane in the house.
Excited.
Yes, I am excited too. Filling in for Max Kellerman, who has a fight, of course, this weekend. Stephen A. in Hollywood, where he belongs. Well, actually, downtown L.A. How are we doing?
Good morning, Molly. How are you? I have no idea how Will ended up on this show this morning. My condolences to you in advance. It's good to see you, my brother. It's good to see you.
I'm glad to be here.
My condolences.
I'm glad to be here. I figured, you know, between Hollywood and the East Coast, somebody ought to bring Middle America here.
Oh, buckle up, people. That is good.
All right.
I like it.
Let's go.
Let's
go.
Let's get into it. On that note, shots already fired. Coming up, the Cowboys and the Redskins facing off in Washington after Week 1 losses. So which squad falls to 0-2 to start the season? The guys will discuss. And Terry Crews is here to talk some football, pick some of the best Week 2 matchups, so that'll be fun. But you know where we're starting. A little Thursday night football. So about last night. The offseason free agent, Matt Forte, how about it? Scored 3 touchdowns, and Ryan Fitzpatrick finally figured out Rex Ryan's defense, leading the New York Jets to a 37-31 victory over the Bills in Orchard Park. Now, the New York Post back page paying homage to the Jets, getting the best of Rex with the Rexorcist. The Jets snapped their 5-game losing streak to the Bills. Stephen A., I want to start with you here. What's your takeaway from last night?
Well, my takeaway from last night is that originally I had the Jets making it to the playoffs, and I think they're a talented enough team to do it. I think that Ryan Fitzpatrick looked like the second coming of Joe Montana. I think that Brandon Marshall, who got injured, scared the living hell out of me because that would have ruined the Jets season, ultimately was able to come back, and it was good that he was able to do it. Both he and Eric Decker had 100-yard games, and then you look at this kid, Anunwa. I mean, he was really, really good. I mean, Decker had 126 receiving yards on 6 receptions. Brandon Marshall also had 6 receptions for 101 yards. Anunwa really, really sparked this team. He was making some key catches, particularly around the time when Brandon Marshall went out of the game and back to the locker room for a little while. And he ended up with 92 yards on 6 receptions as well. So that's 18 receptions between the 3 guys. Matt Forte showed that he was a considerable upgrade compared to what Chris Ivory gave you or what Bilal Powell is capable of giving you. So I was happy about that. But my ultimate takeaway from all of this is what it should be. It's what we should all reach a conclusion on. It's what we should all recognize, including my partner for the day, Mr. Will Kane. I am here to help him out if he's struggling to come to this conclusion. This is officially the beginning of the end for Rex Ryan. Rex Ryan is the head coach for the Buffalo Bills. Only 12% of the teams that start off 0-2 in the NFL end up making it to the playoffs. That means that in all likelihood, the Buffalo Bills are not going to make the playoffs. I know they've had some injuries, and obviously the suspension of Marcel Darius certainly didn't help because he, too, couldn't stay off the weed or whatever the hell he was on that ultimately led to him getting suspended. But in the end, when you look at what transpired last night, the Buffalo Bills made a couple of big plays, including Tyrod Taylor. But for the most part, he was jittery in the pocket all night long. LaShawn McCoy didn't get off all night long. And it's one thing for your offense to be struggling because we know that Rex Ryan has proven he's known little to nothing about offense. But defensively, that's supposed to be his staple. That's supposed to be his signature. And the Jets did what they wanted, when they wanted, how they wanted, to whomever they pleased. When it came to Rex Ryan's defense, they lacked depth, they lacked muscle, they lacked toughness. They got beat up last night, and they got exposed. And I think ultimately, once again, Rex Ryan is getting exposed as somebody who's full of bluster and loves to bloviate, signifying little to nothing. This is the beginning of the end for Rex Ryan. I think last night you saw why 2016, in all likelihood, will be the end for Rex Ryan and his head coaching career in Buffalo.
You know, I knew yesterday, Molly, that I was going to be on this show. So I listened. I always listened, actually. And I heard Stephen A. come out, as he does, hyperbolic and strong against Rex Ryan. And I was ready to come on this show and tell him all the way he's wrong, which I will do in just a moment, Stephen A.
You better hurry up.
If I watched that game last night, I was, you were so validated. And all the opinions, you just take a little bit too far. Here's the deal. Did Rex have a bad game? Yes. Was it particularly bad because his defense was bad? Yes. Is it time to sell on Rex Ryan? No. It's not time to start up the firing bandwagon for Rex Ryan yet. The toughest thing in life, Stephen A., is to find out what's real. The toughest thing in life is to deal with the swings of public opinion. And today, in my little lesson, you represent the swing, Stephen A. You represent the extremely day after overreaction swing to a bad loss by Rex Ryan. Warren Buffett got rich on this. It's called value investing, Stephen A. Find the true value. Let the public swing one way or another. When they're wrong, when they sell short too fast, like you're doing with Rex Ryan, buy. Made Warren Buffett a billionaire. Here's Rex Ryan. He's a great coach. Great's a small overstatement. He's a very good coach. Players want to play for Rex Ryan. Rex Ryan has been afflicted with one thing. We always think these guys are geniuses. It's funny how you're a genius when you have Tom Brady. It's funny how you're a genius when you have Joe Montana. It's funny how you're not a genius when you're stuck with Ryan Tannehill. This is who Rex Ryan has had. He has had Tyrod Taylor, E.J. Manuel, Geno Smith, Michael Vick, Mark Sanchez, Greg McElroy, and Kellen Clemens. That is who he's attempted to prove to you over the last, what has it been, 10 years, that he is a great coach. He's been saddled with these quarterbacks. He is not someone who should be on the firing line just yet. By the way, his career coaching record, there's about 9 active coaches in the range of Rex Ryan, right around 500. Are they all? Is it time for all of them to go, Stephen A? Is it time for Jason Garrett to go? Is it time for Jack Del Rio to go, despite winning his first game? This is 2 games in a 16-game season. Let Rex play this season out. I will imagine at the end he'll end up where he usually does, 9-7, 8-8, 7-9, and 2 years into a project. You can't cut bait 2 years into a project.
Well, first of all, you better stick to politics if you're thinking about coming up against me on it, because this sports stuff ain't working out for you. You done started off on the wrong foot. First of all, I've been an advocate of getting rid of Jason Garrett. Jack Del Rio, I was never a fan of him getting the Oakland Raiders job. Don't even get me started with Marvin Lewis, who's been in the playoffs 7 years out of his 13-year career because he hasn't won a playoff game that entire period of time. There's a myriad of individuals that I have said don't belong in the head coaching spot. Evidently, as much as you say you watch this show, evidently you do not. Not nearly as much as you should, or you watch, but you ain't listening. So allow me to force you to listen to me now since you're sitting right across from me, at least digitally speaking. Let's go to Rex Ryan. Your definition, I'm glad you corrected yourself because you caught yourself when you uttered the word great, because I was about to have security remove you, just throw you off the set and tell you never to come back the first day.
That'd be the best thing to happen to you today. That'd be the best thing to happen to you today.
Hold it this way, because you were about to say Rex Ryan was great, but you caught yourself. So I'm glad, I'm proud of you that you caught yourself with that one. But let's also get down to this. Rex Ryan, 8 full years as a coach in the NFL. His record is 54-60. 54-60. That's 47% of the time he has won games. That's not great. That's not even good. That's tempering towards mediocre.
What happens when you have Geno Smith?
Hold on. It literally is mediocre. When you bring up the bevy of mediocre quarterbacks he played for, that didn't stop him from bloviating about how they would win the Super Bowl. It didn't stop him from bloviating about how they would contend. It didn't stop him from literally doing it when he guided the Jets to 2 straight and AFC championship game appearances. But what has he done since that time, Will Kane? Because I saw how you left that out. Beautifully slick on your part, because people who don't know what the hell they're talking about would have missed that. But you're dealing with me. You should have asked somebody. Let's go down the list right here, Will Kane. 2011, 8-8. 2012, 6-10. 2013, 8-8. 2014, 4-12. 2015, last year, 8-8. So the best Rex Ryan has done since 2010 is 8-8 3 times. If that is not the epitome of mediocrity, I don't know what is. So when you bring up the great Warren Buffett, the Oracle, the true Oracle, as they say, understand why they call him the Oracle, which is something you should know better than me, being the pure capitalist that you are. The man is brilliant. He's not just brilliant in what he does in terms of result. He's brilliant in his prognostications. Rex Ryan has been brilliant in nothing, and that is the reality of the situation. He has not been brilliant with his prognostications. He has not been brilliant with his results. A matter of fact, not only has he not been brilliant, he hasn't been excellent, he hasn't been good, he hasn't been average, he has been below, which runs towards the forms of mediocrity. That's what we're talking about here. So you sitting on here on national television trying to come to the defense of Rex Ryan, I would say to you, my brother from another mother, from the South, you being the right winger that you are, I'm here for you, my brother. I am here for you, because clearly you don't know what you're talking about when it comes to Rex Ryan.
Careful.
Don't know.
All right, now time for the rebuttal. You get to dance in the middle of the ring. Now I come out and start swinging too. It's not a victory just because you're dancing. It's a victory at the end of the bout.
Well, I've been dancing and hitting.
You've been dancing for years, but I'm here.
Hit it.
Here's what I'm defending. Not Rex Ryan. I'm defending reality. I'm pushing back against hyperbole. I'm pushing back against someone that calls Ryan Fitzpatrick the second coming of Joe Montana. That's what I'm pushing back on. The same guy that says Ryan Fitzpatrick, let's just indulge that moment for just a second if we can. Ryan Fitzpatrick, the second coming of Joe Montana, is ready to fire not just Rex Ryan, but 9 coaches across the NFL. Now, forgive me here, but that seems to me a little bit like an overreaction. That seems to me like firing a third of the league every year could be a guy who opens himself up to being wrong and real value, being someone there. I see you waving, just 1 second. I see you over there. I see you waving 1 second. And that's what you've opened yourself up to. A guy he's not even in a full second year. He's had 2 games out of his first season with the Jets. 8-8 the first season. Yes, he's lost the first 2. Let me just tell you this. You're right. He hasn't been great. I did catch myself there. But you know what you could say? Winning, going mediocre, going 500 with Geno Smith and Mark Sanchez and E.J. Manuel and Tyrod Taylor, that's pretty above average. I'd like to see you. I'd like to see Jeff Fisher. I'd like to see Jason Garrett go 500 with those quarterbacks. The only point I'm making is you've gone over the cliff. You're ready for Rex Ryan to go. And I'm telling you, you're leaving value on the table. He's still a good coach. Ask anybody who's coaching. This guy can coach.
First of all, I want to reiterate my point about you being in the wrong profession, how politics is definitely your thing, because here's why. You committed a faux pas, but politicians do it every day.
I'm not a politician.
What they do, let me explain. What they do is they misquote and they misrepresent your position. You tried to get away with that. This is not a speech on the campaign trail. This is a debate, which means I'm right in front of you to respond to that. You said, I said, Fitzpatrick is the second coming of Joe Montana.
Looks like. You're right. You said looks like.
I did not say that. I said he was made to look that way by Rex Ryan's defense last night. You see the difference? It's not what you said. It's what I said. Now let's get to the other point. When you talk about Ryan Fitzpatrick and the New York Jets and you want to juxtapose that to what Rex Ryan had to work with, this Bills offense, with Tyrod Taylor running it last year, with LaShawn McCoy in the backfield, with Sammy Watkins as one of the receivers last year, with that offensive line that you took care of by re-signing Cordy Glenn and Richie Incognito, these boys were all on the field last night. And they look like a shell of themselves. But more importantly than anything else, you make the statement that when it comes to Rex Ryan, everybody who's played for him and people in the league respect him because he's a great head coach. That's actually factually incorrect. What they say about Rex Ryan is that he's an elite defensive coach, which means that he's a coordinator disguised as a head coach who needs to go back to being a coordinator. I'd hire Rex Ryan any day of the week as a defensive coordinator for my team. He deserves that. Not so much his brother, because we know how it's looked in New Orleans, and the fact that you engaged in nepotism by bringing your brother to Buffalo as if he was supposed to help and then get shellacked by the New York Jets just last night doesn't bode well for his brother. But that's a different subject for another day. In the end, what it comes down to is that Rex Ryan is an individual that knows a thing or two about defense. So, Will Cain, if your strength is in a particular area, let's just say, for example, with Will Cain, it's money management.
No.
But then you file for
let me fill in the blank.
10
Just
times.
real quick, I'm gonna fill in the blank.
Do you not need to be fired?
I'm gonna fill in the blank. Will Cain's expertise? It's debating you. It's this. It's debate.
Now, that's funny. I
don't
appreciate
care
the joke.
how many times you say I'm in the wrong
I mean,
field.
I'm very touched.
I don't care.
I'm very touched. It's hilarious.
I'll be here.
But I'm gonna ask you again. Seriously speaking, the strength of you, whoever you are, whatever coattails you rode to get to a particular point of elevation in your life, if you fail at that, are you useful? Rex Ryan, his signature's defense, and his defense looks suspect. And the offense don't look much better, and you don't expect anything from offense. So what purpose does he serve as a head coach? When the Buffalo Bills missed the playoffs this year, you going to tell me he deserves to come back and be the head coach again when it would have been the 6th straight year that he's missed the playoffs?
Yes.
Really?
Yes. Now, let me tell you one last thing. We're going to move on because I've got other debates this morning I got to beat you on. This is just the beginning of our day.
I'm still waiting for you to make a good point, but go ahead.
I'm going to be here. I don't need you to tell me if I'm good at this. I know I'm good at this. And Rex Ryan can coach just like I can debate. It's going to keep
I
happening.
appreciate the confidence.
And let me tell you something. I respect you.
Appreciate the confidence.
And you caught me on a couple things. I'm going to give you that. I did push your Joe Montana thing into hyperbole a little bit. A little bit I pushed it. But you're the king. You're the king of hyperbole. And today you're ready to fire Rex Ryan.
I'm the king of a lot of things.
And that's what
I'm a winner.
All right, let's leave it there, winner. Risk comes from not knowing what you're doing. I'm going to tie it all together with a Warren Buffett quote, and that's what it looked like with Rex playing man all night, allowing nearly 500 yards with that defense. Moving on, though, the haters came out strong after A.J. Green got the best of Darrelle Revis in Week 1. Then last night, Revis got beat bad by an Olympic long jumper, Marquise Goodwin, for an 84-yard TD. J.R. Smith had this to say on Twitter: "Damn, Revis Island turning into a tourist resort." Just saying. Stephen A., you were still hanging in with Revis after Week 1, saying that he's not done. After last night's performance, seeing him get embarrassed in that drive, did that change your mind?
No, it does not. I will acknowledge that it did give me cause to pause, in all seriousness. I mean, we're sitting up here, we're debating, and that's what we're going to do based on our points of views. But in all seriousness about Darrelle Revis, it did give me cause to pause. When I saw him get burned like that, I saw a guy that's lost confidence. I saw a guy that's shaking his head. I saw a guy that looks like Father Time has creeped up on him. I saw all of those things. And when I saw that play, I was like, my God, because I was flying here from L.A., and luckily I was on a plane where they had live television. I literally could watch the whole game on TV while I was in the air. And I got to tell you, I was stunned. It's one thing for A.J. Green to light you up. It's another thing for Marquise Goodwin to do it. I mean, come on now. I'm not saying he can't play, and we all know that he's a speedster. But, I mean, he blew right by Darrelle Revis and literally made Darrelle Revis look old. But if you take away that one reception for 84 yards, you got to ask yourself, what did Marquise Goodwin do the rest of the game? And it was pretty close to nothing. And so I think when you look at it from that perspective, you got to take into account the resume of Darrelle Revis. The fact that it wasn't just his strength, his skill, his athleticism, his youth that he relied upon. Primarily, it's his brain. He's very cerebral in his approach. He's one of the most intelligent football players you'll find. And he figures out a way to get the better of you. In 2 weeks' time, we saw him get scorched the entire game against Cincinnati. We saw him get scorched on one play, albeit a very, very big one, against Buffalo last night. But with a guy like Darrelle Revis, I don't think you look at him. It might be time, Will, to move him to free safety. It might be time. But I think his resume mandates that he's earned the right to play a few more games, showing you what he can do once he gets his bearings under him. Remember that collective bargaining rules have changed. The amount of practice time you're allowed to have, the amount of work you're allowed to put in, the amount of drills you're allowed to endure, et cetera, et cetera. These guys have told me that it takes them a few weeks to get into the throes of action compared to what it used to be before these new rules and these new restrictions for player in activity, physically that is, to come into the equation. So taking that into consideration, I'm simply making the argument that he's Darrelle Revis and he needs to be given the chance over the course of the next few weeks to get his wheels under him correctly and figure things out before we're willing to throw him into the coffin.
Well, the problem is the Jets may not have that time to watch Revis getting burned for 70-yard touchdowns over every week. That time is running short for the Jets because as great as they looked last night, they almost lost to this Bills team you spent the first 10 minutes excoriating. They almost lost to those Bills because of Revis's play. The thing is, when things go bad, Stephen A., they go bad fast. That's generally how it works in life. Fruit turns fast. I had a dog, a beautiful Doberman Pinscher. Never spent $1 on that dog in veterinary bills for the first 12 years. In the last 6 months, I spent thousands. Revis, like every other athlete, when he goes bad, it's going to happen fast. And if 2 games into the season, it's looking like it's happening now. So playing him at corner for the next 3 or 4 weeks could be very costly to the New York Jets. That might be time to move, might be right upon us. It happens to everybody. Doesn't mean his playing days are over. Doesn't mean he's no good anymore. It means he has to play differently. You brought it up. He has to be more cerebral or, like Charles Woodson, move into the safety position. Just scheme. You could put Revis back there for the past 10 years and have him take away the best receiver on the field. It's just that those days might be gone. Not that Revis can't play corner in a certain scheme in the NFL or can't play safety in the NFL. But I think we've arrived at this moment because it's going to go south really fast if we're here.
Well, first of all, I'm sure the world appreciates your relationship with your doggy. I myself find myself
Yeah, what's his name?
very touched.
Leon.
I'm sorry
very
about
touched
Leon.
by that.
Named after Leon Lett.
He's a Doberman, Stephen A. Don't forget.
The fact that you spent thousands of dollars,
Acupuncture, man.
on your doggy. We're
you're
so
a good
touched
dad.
by that. I'm sure he's worthy, or she. Is it a he or she?
He.
He. I'm sure
Leon.
he's worthy. Now back to football. This guy Goodwin, 112 yards on 2 receptions. That means after the 84-yard catch, what we have is a situation where this guy had, what was it, 1 reception for 28 yards? That's it, the rest of the way. And so when I look at it from that perspective, I'm saying, excuse me, you know, and that's probably when the Jets were trying to prevent things, and Revis at one time was in zone coverage. So when you look at it from that perspective, again, the jury is still out. He made a mistake. He got burned badly, looked bad. But from that moment forward, what happened? What did they do? Now, I'm looking at the Jets schedule. You got Kansas City. That's Jeremy Maclin. You got Seattle, okay? That's Baldwin and the crew coming up. Then you got Pittsburgh, Antonio Brown, October 9th. Now, that I want to see. I want to see. That might be, Will, when we find out if Revis is done being Revis.
I love Marquise Goodwin.
I don't know if it's going to happen before that.
I love Marquise Goodwin. He's a good Longhorn, and he's almost an Olympian-level sprinter, but he's still Marquise Goodwin. So if the evidence right now suggests Marquise Goodwin's blowing by you, boy, you better be nervous about Antonio Brown. Boy, you better be nervous about Jarvis Landry. Boy, you better be nervous about everybody coming to town, because Marquise Goodwin, as much as I like him, he's not that level.
But again, what I'm saying is you could have slept on somebody. There's a difference between getting scorched the way that you did by A.J. Green. A.J. Green had 12 receptions for 180 yards. 10 for 150 were directly against Revis. In this particular instance, the guy got you on a play. It's a big play, but you might have slept on him. You might have slept on him. And because of that, you made a mistake. What did you do thereafter? So what I'm saying is I got to watch him against these other guys. There's no question about that. But I do believe the jury is still out. I think it's finished on Rex because Buffalo ain't going nowhere. I don't think it's finished on Revis because I think Revis is going to have a lot of opportunities to prove that he's still Revis. We shall see.
We shall.
In the eyes of Will Kane, it's all over, though.